Hello everybody, welcome to a brand new Let's Play in Hearts of Iron for Kaiserreich. Today we are going to be playing Turkey. We did a Turkey run a few months ago, whenever the last major update was, which I want to say was September. Actually, was it September? No, it's going to be earlier than that, like July. Anyway, we played Turkey recently, but we're going to be playing them again here today. So we're going to be going down the Totalist route, which requires that Mustafa Kemal was not assassinated. I know he can get assassinated under certain circumstances, but in this instance, he needs to have not been assassinated. On top of that, we need to make sure that either the HIF or the DF are in power when you lose the Desert War. And then we'll eventually be joining up with the International, and we'll be having hopefully a pretty good time. So the price of defeat. Whilst we enter the Desert War proud and confident in our abilities to show the backstabbing alien rebels their place, we were soon forced to accept that this war was too much for our empire to handle. Our inability to fend off the deceitful Arab coalition resulted in our once glorious empire being reduced to nothing but a rump state. The Levant's been lost, and with it, the last bit of prestige our nation and our sultan still had in the eyes of the wider world. The holy cities will no longer prosper under our rule. The rich territories of Syria and Iraq have been devastated and have fallen into the hands of our enemies. And the Jewish communities in Palestine that once relied on the protection of the Porte now find themselves in an isolated and vulnerable state. Countless refugees, mainly of Turkic descent, have begun their journey from the lost territories back to our homeland in Anatolia, hoping that they have better off within our borders. However, it is not just those in the territories that have lost that are suffering. The people of Anatolia too are experiencing extreme hardships. Many have lost their loved ones, the economy lies in shambles, and a general feeling of discontent is spreading among the population. It will take some time to rebuild what has been destroyed, but it seems unlikely that the people are going to be patient enough to wait for our government to sort things out. They feel betrayed by the ruling politicians that have lost all trust not only in the ruling party, but also in Abdulmajid II and his abilities. Abdulmajid. That's gotta be butchered to hell. We can only hope the situation soon changes for the better. Yeah, so we're getting a horrible, horrible debuff. Technically, in this universe, we actually didn't lose any troops fighting the war, mostly because I just let the Cairo Pact do whatever the hell they wanted. I did not try to fight them at all. So we'll get a offensive line here done. You guys, I guess let's push you into Greece. I'm not too sure who exactly will be able to expand into once we actually go Totalist. Because the Totalist in Turkey, the Totalist we're doing, it's a very strange Totalist. Because in Kaiserreich, Totalists are usually in two camps. We've either got the Charter Totalist, which, you know, by the way, I think Britain and France both need to be Totalist, and Russia needs to be National Populist for this to work. At least that used to be the case a long time ago. I assume that it was the case either, so I set those to be. I set those to happen. So basically, we have two types of Totalist. We've got the Charter Totalist, which is like Oswald Mosley, who essentially is red fascism, right? So they're mostly people that were fascist in our timeline, who have, for one reason or another, become socialist, communist, whatever. They're Charter Totalist. So I guess they're the groups that actually would call themselves the Totalist. On the other side of this, we have the Vanguardist, who are more in line with like Marxist, Leninist, I guess Maoist in real life, who are not the Totalists. They don't follow the Charter Totalism. They're just more authoritarian than like the Syndicalists. You know, like the Naval Commune, or who actually leads Italy. Also the Syndicalists here, but I don't think they're going to be surviving too much longer. So that's kind of the two camps that Totalists find themselves in Kaiserreich. In Turkey, it's a little bit different. We're going to get into it as we go on, but let's just say they're neither in the Vanguardist camp, nor are they in the Charter Totalist camp. Again, we should get to events once we go further down the path. It won't make sense, but we'll get there. The abdication of Abdulmajid II. The bulk of the empire has come to an end. The storm has finished blowing, the dust has settled. The Ottoman Empire reveals itself as the victim of an unjust treaty imposed by the Cairo Pact, which saw the end of a century-long Ottoman hegemony in the Middle East. The people have had to fled during the war, and its aftermath have now settled by the thousand in Anatolia. Famines and massacres were numerous during their flight. The Turkish troops are disorganized, and many soldiers, especially of Arab origin, have already deserted, hoping to find more glorious futures elsewhere. And the world has lost all respect for our nation. These are dark times for the empire. Sultan Ahmed II wishes the spectacle from his window, horrified. The government of the day no longer shows its face. It knows what it is getting itself into. The people are grumbling. Who are these politicians that led the empire to ruin in the belief that they are reforming it? One gets the impression that external affairs have been disregarded in favor of political conflicts of interest. Everyone is waiting for the events that will mark the turning point in this disarray. Since the Sultan seems to be the only one with the power in this decisive moment, many refer to him. Finally, Ahmed announced to his aide-de-camp that he is going to abdicate. He has seen the glory days of the empire after the Great War, but had been unable to leave the puppet function and had been imposed by his predecessors. Look. Ahmed Ahad, grandson of the ill-fated Sultan Murad V, has been proclaimed Sultan of the Ottoman Empire under the name Ahmed IV. He followed the usual ceremony and was elected the Caliph of all of Islam by Milis I of Mubasan. He has been enthroned as the Khalifa of the Muslims and the custodian of the holy places, and he now wears the historical mantle, to the disliking of many of his deputies. So we're going to get a base 25% stability. Political power goes down to 0. Was there anything we can spend 20 political power on? I'm going to say probably not, so we'll just get that going now while we're here. We also are over our unit count by 2. 2 is not really a big deal. We'll be over by a little bit. Okay, oil prospects. Very important to note is that this entire focus tree is going to be going away very soon. So is there anything... thing is, is there anything here that actually will stay with us once we change? Again, maybe we... I don't even know if we have 35 days. So I guess give me the civilian factory, maybe? Nationalists protest against the government. Mustafa Kemal, out of his political slumber, took advantage of the revolt to publish several articles claiming that the defeat was the work of democratic coalition and that the Sultan had betrayed the country by removing him from the post of Grand Vizier a few years ago. He also accused the government of having capitulated too quickly and requested the immediate reconquest of the former Turkish territories. In his most recent publication, he called on the revolutionaries and those who wanted to save the empire to join the nationalist resistance. This nationalist resistance is growing stronger by the day. It has now begun to organize loud protests in order to force the government to accept what they call the will of the people. Yeah, so everybody in the country is a little bit mad. Honestly, 35% stability, that's actually pretty good. I think the American Union State series, which we just ended in a pretty bad note, I don't even think we had 35% stability by the end of that. Officers and soldiers leave the ranks. Over the course of the weeks, numerous alarming reports reached the ears of the government of the Sublime Porte. In the underworld of Constantinople, several secret associations were discovered. These organizations mostly conduct illegal arms trade and supply a number of citizens with weapons that, theoretically, only the military should have access to. In addition, there were a large number of deserters, which shocked the high command, since it was believed that at the end of the war had satisfied the men. As if this alone was not scary enough, seeing how our army is already disorganized and under-equipped before these men deserted, there were also some officers that, after officially resigning from the army, took the train east to eastern Anatolia. Could it be to join a nationalist resistance movement? No, I'm sure it's okay. Nothing bad is going to happen, okay? Just calm down. And the morning coup. This morning at around 5:30 a.m., gunfire could be heard from the Yildiz Palace where Ahmed IV resided. At the same time, men stormed the War Ministry and the Sublime Porte and seized control of the most major political and military institutions. Aided from within by the city's guard and the garrison, a train brought national leaders to the outskirts of the capital. Mustafa Kemal, his private guard, and General Ismet took control of the government, while Fezi took over the War Ministry. Since most of the garrison stationed in the city sided with the nationalists, a few men still loyal to the HIF were unable to form a major resistance. Within an hour, the coup concluded, and the power once again fell into the hands of Kemal. The news spread throughout the city at lightning speed. Whole processions formed and joy to cheer on the saviors of the empire, and even the Sultan himself officially recognized new government towards the end of the day. This was a little too late for the Ghazi's liking. At noon, he issued a statement as Grand Vizier of the capital of the Turkish Empire. as our nation was referred to in the document, announcing the beginning of the reign of his newly formed government and calling for the rescue of the nation from the imperialists and Arab bandits who had been endangering it. He promised to undertake the necessary measures to protect the Turkish people, and that progress would save them from the horrors that they had experienced. Even though the now disposed government still controls some areas in Anatolia, many people by now already accept the Grand Vizier's reign, hoping that he will bring peace, freedom, and justice and security to his new empire. So we're gonna get the OHF revolution, and now that we're here, we can. This is where we need to get. We need to get our way down to permanent revolution, which I don't think should take that. I mean, we need to get economic revolution. Requires the Republic of Turkey be proclaimed, and as you can see, France, Britain, and Russia. Actually, no, I lied. Just one of those three need to exist in order for us to go through this. So I'm guessing if France, Britain were both syndicalists and Russia was just like a normal republic, then we would actually not be able to get our way down towards the Cadro down here. Yeah, so basically we're going to have a totalist and national populist coalition, which is definitely not cursed. So we got the OHF revolution. Let's ban political parties. Who needs parties? Parties are for nerds. You only need the OHF. Don't need to worry about you. Don't worry about you. Actually, how many trains do we have? 22? I will steal some trains. I think that actually might be beneficial. Back to reality. After the success of the coup, the government of Kemal took stock of the situation and realized one thing. The situation looks desperate. Before the new government could implement the promised reforms, it would first have to deal with the internal struggles that plague the nation. The first difficulty is obviously the impact that the HIF had on the country. Democratic and decentralized reforms will be difficult, but not entirely impossible to reverse. If this goal is to be achieved, it will be necessary to make the people and administrations understand that Kemalist reforms are the only way to save the empire in these dark days. However, this is not the only task ahead of Kemal and his supporters. They will also have to deal with the economic crisis affecting the nation. Indeed, the loss of half the empire's land has inevitably had an impact on the general standard of living as well as the country's productive capabilities. If Kemal manages to deal with these internal problems, he will surely have regained the trust of the people. Even though the situation may look dire, the Pasha is full of hope and confidence in his abilities to lead the people into a brighter future. So I mean, right now, the country is kind of a... it's a little bit of a shit show. But I'm sure that's fine. We have one more division. I don't know, send you to Brown Army. Don't train any more units, really. I mean, we're already going to be 3 units over, which is not a ton. Like, don't get me wrong. But I would prefer not to go way over the cap here. Traditionalist resistance. With the rise of the Nationalist Party back in power, many conservatives saw the return of the Kemalist reforms planned before the election defeat of the OHF. The Sheikh al-Islam himself called on the government to show religious tolerance and respect for traditions, fearing that Kemalists might trample on these values. Many muftis, hojas, and imams have already organized rallies to protest against the fall of the liberal coalition and the rise of the illegitimate nationalist regime. In parts of eastern Anatolia, the traditionalist resistance have already become violent, as several gerrymanders have been assassinated by Kurdish zealots. The mechanics of traditionalism are now in place. At the beginning of the Kemalist reforms, you can access the percent of traditional resistance. This resistance will be able to define future political events and developments. Okay. I'm sure that won't be bad. I mean, I haven't really played around with the traditionalist stuff. Okay, Bulgaria has declared war on Greece. Really, Bulgaria? I mean, I guess it makes more sense for you to attack Greece than for you to attack Serbia. A meeting on the Bosphorus. This afternoon, King Edward VIII has on a visit to a member country of the Entente, stops his yacht in the Bosphorus. Mustafa Kamil, probably already awaiting the king, visited him on his boat not long after. Seeing how smoothly it all went, the entire occurrence seemed to have been planned in advance. Some journalists were even able to capture unique images of the Ghazi in his swimming suit, chatting happily with the King of England. No one knows what the true meaning of this meeting was, which sparks some speculations, whilst most people think that this is nothing but a friendly visit, showing that there's no longer any bad blood between the British and the Turks. Others argue that this could be the first steps towards a Turkish entry into the Entente, a political move which could potentially bring Turkey back onto the world stage. Well, we could theoretically join. It's somewhere down here. Yeah, you can join the Reichspakt, you can join the Belgrade Pact. Actually, interestingly enough... Wait, can you not join the Entente? Yeah, I mean, there's join the Reichspakt, join the Belgrade Pact. But there's no join the Entente, even though we just had a decision, we just had an event about joining them. Reversing secularization. Although the ideas of the HIF and Prince Sabatin in particular were not of secular nature, the fears of the OHF seem to be coming true. As the increased participation of the lower class in Ottoman politics has left the state particularly vulnerable to the steady rise of the Islamic flank. Supported by the powerful Sufi orders such as the Naqshbandi, the clique around Sakin Arslan has seen its power in the Ottoman parliament grow tremendously to great concern to the non-Sunni groups. Whilst the president of religion and politics is not directly causing concern, as this was also envisioned by Sabatin, various minority groups are fearful that Arslan is going to ride the wave of Sunni populism and dismantle the system we have so painstakingly built up. So I'm guessing we kind of need to make sure that the Kemal's will does happen. That needs to occur. Okay, General Nuri's Pasha's Mausoleum. Installed in the 2nd Corps Command in Gallipoli, Ignace Rapace was so saddened by the lack of proper recognition paid to the fallen soldiers there during the Weltkrieg. I think we did see this event in our previous campaign, so I'm not going to read it a second time over. Okay, Recon Company 2. I'm not even too sure exactly why I was researching that. Actually, do I have naval invasion tech? We do. Fantastic. Give me a 1940 artillery. Engineering company. I'm happy to have that. Banned. Okay, political parties banned officially. Well, do we have like a lot of... We have 1.6k sport equipment. And we have 20,000 rifles. Well, we have 24 of you. 1 of you, 5 of you. I mean, if I were to throw engineering companies in here, would I have enough support equipment for that? I would. Okay, save that up. Happy to have it. But to get you, I do need all of this stuff. Eliminate HIF resistance. Let's protect the national economy. And I still don't see any options about the... You know, we have so many guns, we probably don't need this many on rifle production. So let's take 3 of you just to start producing a handful of trucks. Diplomatic overtures from Greece. While the relations with Greece have been cool at best since the rebellion from the Turkish rule in the 19th century, today we received several emissaries from Greece who are hopeful to start a new area of peace between our nations. You know what? Give me the political power. I'm guessing they're going to want to trade territory, and you know what? I'm going to say no to that because I prefer to have this land. I don't want to give Greece anything. They're currently losing a war against Bulgaria. They might not exist soon. So they're in literally no place to make any demands. Or at least that's the way I see it right now. You guys took back Turin? You know what? Yes, right. Somehow is still alive. I don't know how they've done it. Get all of my Navy units combined. Okay, Venezuela's elected a syndicalist government. The American Civil War is still occurring. I do know that if the Federalist... I'm guessing Pacific States and the American Union State can probably also do it. I'm not too sure. I know they can coup the Venezuelan government. Iberia joined the Internationale. And Mustafa Kemal's been hospitalized. Although our Grand Vizier has reached the zenith of his career, bringing the empire back from the brink of destruction is also coming at great physical cost to the man. Years of stress, smoking, and bad drinking habits have greatly weighing him down and have led to a steady decrease of time spent in public. Although always remaining stubborn and refusing to resign, many of the day-to-day affairs have, behind the scenes, already been transferred over to his trusted friend Ismet, who seems set to succeed the line of Antep himself. Whether Ismet is capable of maintaining the same degree of authority is, however, far less concerned, and talks with various opposition figures concerning toning down the heavy restrictions are being conducted behind the back of the Grand Vizier. You're Ismet, right? No, you're Fezi. I think Fezi is who was in control of our first Turkish campaign. Are you Ismet? Who's Ismet? Is it one of you? Oh, he's dead. The death of Mustafa Kemal Pasha. Okay, this doesn't change this tree, right? I don't think so. I hope not. Despite the Ghazi's political withdrawal, death has decided to come knocking on his door. Very early this morning, his friend Ali Fethi, who was to visit him for their usual walk, went to the Pasha's flats. His aide-de-camp, who was awakened to fetch him, found him lying in his bed dead. After hearing this terrible news, Fezzi's first words were, Camille, my friend, what will we do without you? For the Gezi has recently refused to be called Mustafa. Another friend of his, Salif, shot himself in the chest after being informed of the death of the Pasha. The OHF party in Constantinople was quick to respond by declaring an official national day of mourning. The parties issued a joint statement in which it thanked the Pasha, referred to as the Halkla Ghazi, the Savior Ghazi, Holy Warrior, for his actions during the war. Furthermore, various vessels, both small and large, military and civilian, sailed in front of Camille's seashore villa, shouting, crying, and waving the Ottoman flag in memory of the man now forever captivated the legacy of our grand empire. Well... Oh, no, okay, he is supposed to die. Fantastic. We didn't screw anything up. But I do think that at least right now is going to be a good time for us to end this episode. So thanks everybody for watching. My name is Anthem. If you've enjoyed, run a thumbs up. Not enjoyed, click thumbs down. If you want to see more, subscribe, and goodbye.